Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So many vehicle manufacturers have gotten away with selling crap vehicles for far too long. I'm talking vehicles that notoriously have engine issues, transmission issues, huge quality control issues. I'm going to highlight a number of those examples in today's video, and I want to get your thoughts. Let me know if I missed any as I talk through them. Real quick, I want to show you this Cadillac Escalade IQ Sport 2. Get a load of this price tag. Who is still buying these vehicles? So many vehicle manufacturers have lost tremendously on their EV electric vehicle segments, so much so where they are having to make up for these losses in all their other vehicles. Like GM, they likely hiked up their price tags a little bit of their GMC pickup line, the GMC Sierras over there, just to make up for losses that they get in their EV segment. Whether it's this IQ Sport 2 or like the Hummer EV, they're losing tremendously. And well, with price tags like that, it's no shock as to why they're not selling. And this next example actually upsets me quite a bit because I am a large fan of this particular truck's engine. I do love the 6.2 liter V8, the naturally aspirated V8 that GM has offered for a number of years. But for a number of years, we've also seen this exact powertrain being plagued with pretty significant issues, to include the lifter issues that are a major problem for the 6.2 liter in particular. We see it with the 5.3, but the 6.2 is the major problem here. But this is my favorite engine that GM offers, which is a total shame. It's been plaguing this platform for years, but yet only now is GM kind of coming forward and really owning up to their major flaws within their V8 platforms. Not to mention the resale value on these GM pickup trucks, whether it's the Chevy Silverado, the GMC Sierras here. The residual values are always a little bit tricky, and that's largely thanks to the fact that GM will generally offer up pretty large discounts or incentivized interest rates and that kind of just makes the used market on these less reliable. And while they did just increase their discount, at least advertised discount, on this GMC 1500 Elevation trim, we have over $8,200 off or 0% interest rate over 36 months. Which one are you taking? Or would you demand both? You tell me. You know, the shameful bit is you can't even go out and buy a full-size heavy-duty pickup truck. A lot of these diesel Duramax examples behind me, even these are coming with price tags between $85,000 to $105,000 depending on the trim. You can't come out and buy one of these with any kind of level of peace of mind nowadays. Even these will often get plagued with pretty large safety recalls. Not to mention, who wants to come out and buy a $100,000 pickup only for it to be worth maybe $50,000 or $60,000 just a couple years down the road? That's the reality you're faced with. And here we have a Denali trimmed Sierra 1500, sporting that same 6.2 liter V8. What are they only offering? About a 7-8% off discount? That is insufficient, especially when we have that price tag dang near 90 grand for it. That won't cut it. I mean, heck, so many of them are all sporting that same exact engine. Obviously, the warranty is going to take care of it, but what does that mean for your time, right? You're going to have to tie up your vehicle, take it into the shop, leave it there for countless days, maybe even weeks, right? That's just a big headache and a big inconvenience. The 5.3 liter, well, is subject to some issues too. And here we have the refreshed GMC Yukon here. This one is a Denali trim. I'm almost afraid to see how much they want for it. Let's get an idea. No sticker on it. It looks like this one has been sold, but I would wager that this one really is low to mid $90,000 range. A lot of dealerships were even still trying to deploy markups on these just because of the refresh, which is pretty pathetic, right? Let's take advantage of your excitement and milk you for money. Speaking of EVs, do you ever wonder what happens to a whole lineup of unsold vehicles? When it comes to EVs in particular, you generally will see a whole lineup of them. And at this dealership included, they had a number of Hummer EVs. A number of them, I guarantee it, they didn't sell. I live here in a small town. I'd be seeing them drive around likely, but they did not sell, especially in Wyoming, right? What happens to them? Well, they go back to the vehicle manufacturer and they will then regionalize them as a more appropriate target audience for it. So they'll maybe move them to Colorado. They'll maybe move it to a state that maybe prioritizes EVs a little bit more, hoping that there'd be a core audience that will actually come out and buy them. And I don't understand why anybody would consider buying a Nissan car. A car, especially with their CVTs, their continuous variable transmissions, these have already proven themselves to be god-awful. They're terrible, right? They've proven this. There's a huge track record. Look up at any forum, you'll see a number of people who have been experiencing these issues for many, many years here. So this right here, the CVT, is in a number of their vehicles, the majority of Nissan's vehicles nowadays. But let's face it, Nissan has become quite notorious for pushing very low interest rates on these vehicles and offering pretty large discounts too. They, I think, among most vehicle manufacturers, will offer the best incentivized interest rates to move this inventory. But it really comes down to the price tags, right? This is bearable for most Americans. I shouldn't say it like that. You know, those monthly payments on, let's say you got another $3,000 off on a $25,000 vehicle, still having vehicle manufacturer warranty and having that peace of mind, that makes sense for most Americans. Rather than going out and buying a used vehicle nowadays for $15,000 with 100,000 miles on it, might as well get one with zero, even if it does come with a pretty faulty CVT. And I will admit that the Nissan Murano has upped its game when it comes to the aesthetics and its appearance overall. Well, to give you a comparison, here's a Nissan Rogue. Call the whoop-de-doo hotline and tell them to stop the press, because that looks tremendously better, right? Let me show you the price tag of it. This is a part of the problem. $50,000, 50 grand for a Nissan Murano. Be prepared for this to drop 50% in value within that first 2 years of ownership, which is pretty pathetic. And who the heck is buying the Nissan Z? Especially with all the competition out there for very similar price points, this makes 0 sense. I guarantee you the Z will be over $60,000. I peeked at it a couple times. I don't recall, but I remember it being, yep, so we're at $61,395. And at the end of the day, who is buying a Nissan Z sports coupe like this in an automatic transmission? It makes 0 sense to me. They look good, but they're easily $15,000 overpriced for what you get, especially compared to the competition. I would definitely get a Toyota Supra well before this one here. What say you? And I might catch a little bit of flack for this, but I'm not sure who in their right mind would actually come out and buy a brand new Hyundai. Hyundai, obviously, when it comes to the appearance and look at them and styling, they've done a great job at coming into the 21st century. It took them a while. They're definitely behind Honda and Toyota, but now, well, I would argue in many cases, they actually look a little bit better than their Japanese competitors, right? This is a South Korean brand, Hyundai, as well as Kia, of course, but they have some pretty serious issues plaguing a number of their powertrains, right? They're 2.0, 2.5 liter, 4 cylinders. They just have so many problems haunting those powertrains. So many people are bumping into engine failure and catching fire. There's class action lawsuits surrounding it. I just could not buy Hyundai or Kia with any level of peace of mind right now. Not to mention the residual value will be much, much less, much worse compared to its Japanese counterparts. Go buy a Honda, spend a few $1,000s more, and well, you can drive it for 3 to 5 years, have better peace of mind, I would argue, and not lose your rear end come trade-in time or resale time. That's huge, guys. So don't get too wrapped around the axle when it comes to the actual price tag and saving a few $1,000s up front on it, because, well, you're going to lose that in the ownership of the vehicle. I hope that makes sense. They must be doing something right, because I would say maybe 1 out of 4, every high schooler within my entire neighborhood seemingly drives one of these Hyundai Elantras. Obviously, the price point is a big part of it, and much like we talk about in my videos, having a vehicle manufacturer warranty with that type of price point is huge. Because, I mean, open up Facebook Marketplace, open up Craigslist, and see how much used vehicles cost with 100,000 plus miles on it. You're still looking $10,000, $15,000 in most cases. So might as well buck up a little bit more, get an incentivized interest rate, and full peace of mind, quote unquote, full peace of mind with the vehicle manufacturer warranty. The Mustang Mach-E might be perhaps the most laughable example, of course, right? They, even with government subsidies and tax credits, were losing money per vehicle, which ultimately led to the increase of price tags of all the other vehicles within Ford's lineup, right? Which ultimately you and I are ultimately paying for, which is the unfortunate truth. They lost a lot of money following the political winds of the EV segment, hoping that it was going to be a little bit more successful, and well, it fell flat on its face, of course. Same goes for the F-150 Lightning. Those saw terrible sales, and they were seeing $20,000 to $27,000 off discounts of them, and even then, they were sitting collecting dust on so many dealerships. As a Toyota enthusiast myself, I feel as though this new generation Toyota Land Cruiser, the LC250 here, quote-unquote Prado that we get, is the biggest disappointment, the biggest flop that Toyota has offered in the last few decades, I would argue. This vehicle here, not only is it wildly overpriced for what you get, four-banger underneath the hood, a hybridized four-banger, but look at this, over $72,000. People historically have always bought the Land Cruiser because it was tried, true, reliable, had a naturally aspirated V8. This made sense, right? I mean, people bought this to drive it 20, 25 plus years with minimal headache. Not anymore. Now we have this hybridized hybridized Land Cruiser with a terrible cargo space because they bump up the back end to fit the battery pack underneath. It's just a huge disappointment and really a disgrace to that Land Cruiser nameplate, if you ask me. Don't even get me started on the Toyota Tacoma, now built entirely out of Mexico, where Toyota saves over 80% in labor costs by comparison to paying American employees in Texas here, where it was previously split 50-50 between Texas and Mexico before, but now the fourth generation Tacoma, again, you get a mandatory four-banger underneath the hood, lackluster quality control clearly coming out of that, wonky panel gaps coming out of that, transmission issues, a lot of disappointment with the new Tacoma, all while paying a price tag 20 to 25% more than the previous generation that sported a naturally aspirated V6 that was quite reliable. So a huge disappointment with the Tacoma. I have no idea why anybody would buy that. Now, Stellantis has developed a reputation for lackluster quality and really poor reliability at this point. So I can't imagine why anybody in their right mind would come out and spend Mercedes-Benz or BMW money on a Grand Wagoneer or a Wagoneer here. These Jeep Wagoneers were wildly overpriced out of the gate. And well, when you walk any Jeep dealership, well, it's abundantly clear when you look at the discounts. Even these ones here, all priced at $7,000 to $10,000 off. It's not uncommon to get $15,000 to $20,000 off on these, especially right now on 2024 units, unsold carryover units that have been sitting on dealership lots for a year plus at this point. But one thing you need to be on the lookout for, of course, is lot rot. And I think a part of the problem is during the pandemic, money was cheap, right? You can go out and get a huge astronomical loan. Lending institutions were giving 150% plus LTV loan-to-value loans out to people, and they're handing them out like candy. And well, Stellantis saw that and like, well, let's pump out a luxury segment, full-size SUV, and really capitalize on it. So that's what they did. And well, now they're falling on their face with it. This one here, the already discounted price of about $79,000 being brought down to about $72,000. They look good, but you can't polish a turd, right? You start driving them, you're gonna bump into issues, whether it's with the technology, the abundance of technology that they crammed in here, or these pretty lackluster powertrains, right? They're gonna leave you disappointed, and they will likely leave you stranded in a huge, huge loss to a residual value, whether you like it or not. And really, outside of Tesla, every single vehicle manufacturer who dipped their toe into the EV segments have lost tremendously on it. Ford lost $4.2 billion over the last 2 years in their EV segment alone. And well, that just means that they're going to have to make up for those losses elsewhere. This right here is a Wagoneer S Limited 4xe. This and the Jeep Wrangler 4xe are coming with substantial discounts of $15,000 to $25,000 off. And yet they still can't move this metal. So the EV segment is a little bit of a craze for a second there when money was cheap and people could buy these as secondary or third vehicles within the household. But right now, they make 0 cents. So dealers are losing a ton on them. And here we have perhaps the most ridiculous version of a Dodge Durango. This one here is the Hellcat version. I'll show you the window sticker here. Get ready to lose your mind at how much they want for these. These have had a pretty difficult time selling, not only due to Stellantis' reputation with poor reliability and lackluster quality, but when you combine that with the fact that it doesn't quite compare to a full-size SUV like a Ford Expedition Max, a GMC Yukon XL, or a Cadillac Escalade, Chevy Suburban, you name it. That full-size segment is kind of what this is trying to be. It's trying to be that, right? I mean, it's larger than most SUVs, but doesn't quite scratch the itch for large families. Look at this price tag, though. $115,000, which is absolutely sickening. And I think it's important to note that this window sticker here kind of makes it look like it was originally priced at its MSRP and then brought down to $96,000. Same goes for all those Wagoneers over there. Many of these are teetering toward $100,000, which is absolutely sickening. But you tell me, you going to consider this at $96,000, $97,000? Because what is that? That's about $22,000 off. Pretty sickening. And check out this identity crisis. There's a reason why these are absolutely plaguing so many Dodge, Ram, Chrysler dealerships right now. This Dodge Daytona EV, an EV sports car, trying to be something that it's not. If you are interested in this, well, let me tell you about a timeshare I can sell you in Florida. They are absolutely ridiculous. They're priced to the moon too. But when you combine that with the fact that people try to buy a sports car are not interested generally in an electric vehicle segment at large, let alone within their sports car. Pretty sad. And I gotta admit, I'm pretty disappointed to see the current state of Jeeps, especially Jeep Wranglers. You can't walk any Jeep dealership without seeing lines upon lines of unsold inventory Mini 2024 units. But now they're practically giving them away and people still aren't buying them, right? I mean, here now they're trying to push giant lease savings, huge lease savings on the Rubicon models. And this one here is that Rubicon 4xe, like I just showed you that example over there of the 4xe. These here, nobody really wanted them. And that became abundantly clear as they're pushing government subsidies, tax credits on them, bringing down the price tags $20,000 to $25,000 off, and still nobody freaking wanted them. And with price tags like that, $73,000, can you say you blame them? Yikes. I might catch a little bit of flack for this one, but can someone please tell me what you find appealing about these Grand Cherokees here? I have never, ever liked these things, and I just feel like they're such a huge waste of money. Anytime I see someone who's bought one, especially a brand new one, of course, I'm just like, what are you thinking? Just under $50,000, this Grand Cherokee Altitude X 4x4. I don't know. I really don't get it. This feels like a tremendous waste of money, and it doesn't scratch a whole lot of itches, in my opinion, for most families. Okay, let's look at these two over here. I have no idea how Jeep is able to sell any of these things. We got a 4xe over here, another garbage model that I'm sure is wildly overpriced. You know what? Let's look at this one. I'm sure it's going to be insane. Let's get a look. Look at that. Freaking $70,000 dang near for this 4xe Trailhawk version of it. Well, let's see what the discount is. Oh, no, it doesn't. Just a lease sale. I don't know. You guys seriously tell me, what do you find appealing about that? The whole thing is just wildly boring. So I'll wrap up the video there, guys. In a world of smaller engines and bigger price tags, it's really becoming quite clear as to why people are voting with their pocketbooks. They're not coming out and falling victim to these terrible vehicles anymore. In today's video, I just really highlighted just a few of many pretty terrible vehicles that are being offered by vehicle manufacturers. And well, there's a fool born every minute, and unfortunately some of them are still selling, which is quite sad. If you appreciate this type of content whatsoever, I do respectfully request that you please consider liking and subscribing. Your support means a lot, and it certainly doesn't go unnoticed. Until next time.